Hi everyone, welcome to DT's Premiere where technical drawing is made simple. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to support the channel and help reach more students. Let's begin. Alright, so now that we know the concept of constructing angle 60 degree and degree mean and how to get opposite of an angle, the opposite degree angle, we're going to actually construct some angles, derive some angles from base. All right. So the first angle we're going to construct is a 60-degree angle. All right. So let's first construct a 60-degree angle. And for this 60-degree angle, or the length of our line is going to be 5 centimeters, also 50 millimeters. All right. So we want a 60-degree angle from this. Let us label 0, 180. So we need to establish our vertex, which is the point where the two angles meet. We're doing it in the middle. And then we get our compass, and we're going to construct our semicircle from which we'll our 60 angle. All right. Remember, we start slightly below the line, so it's accurate. All right. Now we need to label these points. Let's label A. Let's label B. And then now keeping the same radius, meaning not changing this. So whatever this was before, you don't change it. You're going to place your point at B, and then you're going to cut the semicircle. Wherever you cut the semicircle, remember, once you keep the same radius and you cut the semicircle from B, it's always going to be 60 degree. So you're just simply going to get your ruler, try to get the right orientation, and then you're just going to draw your 60-degree line. Now, if the question asks for a 60-degree line, what I want you to understand is that that 60-degree line is going to actually be, all right, let me just do this. So that 60-degree line is going to actually be dark. In other words, outlined. All right. Fixing this. Let me use this. You should use your ruler and your compass. I'm going to just use straight line. Now use the straight lines. That's all right. 60 degree, and that's our 60-degree angle. All right. Now from this 60-degree angle, I can construct a 30-degree angle. All right. But before we go into that, let us darken the ones that we need, which is 60 degrees. So we go from 0 to the vertex. Like I'm getting extra practice. That, and the more you practice, the more you make mistakes, the more you actually get it and understand what you're doing. All right. So don't panic, just do it. And let's darken our 60 degrees. So we go from 0 to the vertex, and then from the vertex to the degree, because that's what the question is asking for. We do not darken from the vertex to 180 because that's not what the question asks for. It asks for 60 degrees. Now, if we want a 30-degree angle, we're simply going to get our ruler again, and I'm going to show you how to derive your 30 degree from your 60 degree. So you draw your line, whatever length the question asks, or I'm going to use for draw your line, and just so you remember what to do, that is always going to be, and this side is going to be 180. All right. You need to place a point, which is your vertex where the angle meet. Get your compass, and the first thing you need to do is to construct your 60. All right. So we're going to construct our 60-degree angle. Remember, we said we construct our 60-degree angle and draw our semicircle. And we keep the same radius, placing the point at B, grab and that's how we always get a 60. All right. I want you to practice this over and over again, because if you don't know how to get your 60-degree angle, in trouble for the rest of the topics for the rest of your classes. So make sure you practice. Then we need a straight line. No, the question did not ask you for a 60-degree angle. All right. So even though you constructed a 60-degree angle, that's not what the question asked for. It asked for 30 degrees. So you are not going to darken the degree line. We need to get our 30-degree first. We get our 30-degree when we bisect our 60-degree angle. And this is using two arms where we're going to get our angle at a midpoint. So remember, once you're bisecting anything at all, you're cutting it in half, you're finding the geometrical center or the midpoint of that line or angle. In this case, we're finding the midpoint of 60 degree, because 60, when we cut it, it's going to be divided into two equal halves, and two, when you divide 60 into two equal halves, it's going to be equal to 30 degrees. All right. So how do we bisect that? Simple. Using point B, where the semicircle is cutting your zero line. This is going to be the first arc that you're going to scribe, and this arc is going to be in the middle of 0 and 60, because that's where angle is going to be formed. So notice I'm in the middle here. I'm not starting from under here nor above here, in the middle. Then the second point is going to be where your 60-degree line is cutting the semicircle. All right. So notice it's two common points on the semicircle. So the first point is at B, where the 0 is cutting the semicircle, and the second point is where the 60. We'll practice some more. So once you cut that now, and you draw your line from your vertex through this point, this is not going to be your 30 degrees. And because the question asks for the 30 degrees, you're going to now darken from 0, use from 0 to the vertex, and then from the vertex to the 30 degrees, because that's what the. So let's just practice that one more time. So to get our 30-degree angle, we need to first construct our 60-degree. Get your straight angle first, 0 on one side, 180 the other side, and then you place your vertex. Is the point where the two. All right. Then you get your compass using a convenient radius, too wide and not too small. You're going to construct a semicircle. The line, take it back over, and we label. The labels assist us so for your labeling. AB. Now we place our point at B, keeping the same radius, meaning we didn't open or close the compass. This is how we get our perfect 60 degree at all times. We're going to scribe an arc to cut the semicircle. Wherever it cuts the semicircle, we draw a line from the vertex through the intersection, all right? And this is always going to be 60 degrees. Ensure you're practicing. Don't just watch the video and think that you'll get it. Now, to bisect the 60-degree, in other words, cutting it in half, finding the mid geometrical center, place your point at B. We're opening a little bit more. We're going to scribe our first arc within 0 to 60 mark because that's what we want. All right. Scribe. All right. And then use the other command point now where the semicircle is cutting this. We're going to scribe the section. Notice we kept the same rate. Open it or close it from the vertex through this point. The label. See? After you're finished with that, we're going to darken the ones that the question asks. So from 0 to the vertex, please the ruler, and from the vertex to. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.